Hello, how are they? How are you? How are you there? Let us prophesy on the abomination that causes dissolution. And I want to make this video, a separate video about this prophecy that the Lord just gave me right now, because on the previous video I put it at the end of that video. So I'm sure some people don't even watch my videos to the end. So this is the prophecy that the Lord has given me towards the military of Zimbabwe. Today on Wednesday, May 10, 2023. My name is Ngobani Zodela. This is what the Spirit of the Living God says to the military of Zimbabwe. You are like a small army vehicle like this. There is a huge armored vehicle that is coming. Yes, I see in the spirit, I see it coming to crush you. I see it coming to crush you, and by the way, you don't understand it, and you will not understand how it's gonna crush you. But there's a time that will come when you will see it, you will perceive. That's what seeing means. You will perceive the events, the global events, the global geopolitical events, Mr. ED. A time is about to come a few months from now. You will perceive it, and the time you perceive it, you will not be able to stop it, because your tricks won't work anymore. Because on that time, as you are proudly and blindly saying that you are the military, you are not the military. You are saying that you are the intelligence, you are not the intelligence. You say that you are the police, you are not the police. You say that you are ZANU-PF, you are the ruling party, you are not ZANU-PF, the ruling party that cannot be removed. You understand, Mr. Itim Nangaba? God is bringing a war against you, and that war is not a war of equals. I hear the Lord say. He said that it's not a war of equals. Do you know what that means? It means it's a one-sided war. It's just God coming to just stop you. Finish and clear. It's God says, oh my God, Rainbow, the Holy Zimbabwe, pray for me. Rambo, Salibu, Shakadara, Warrior, Korea, Senderebo, mighty. God said that this war, holy, oh God, I feel the presence of the Lord just now. The anointing is amazing right now. It's great. And the Lord said that Mr. Mnangagwa is going to be a one-sided war. It's like, like, it's not even brothers, there is no war to liberate Zimbabwe that's going to be protracted. It's just going to be an event. There is an event of the Lord, a day of the Lord, that the Lord is going to come and just going to shut Mnangagwa off and his regime. Just going to come and shut Mnangagwa off there and there. There is a shutting of Mnangagwa that is coming in a few months from now, says the Spirit of the Living God. You hear what I'm saying? Let me just repeat. My name is Ngobani Zuda. I'm preaching here from Cape Town. I also that there's going to be a shutting of the Mnangagwa regime, and that shutting is not going to be protracted. It's not going to be a lot of events that's going to lead to it. You know, like a lot of like battles for ZANU-PF to get out of power until suddenly, and then we finally get the victory. No, it's just going to be a sudden thing. Only at once, one day, in an instant. Mnangagwa is going to wake up in the morning thinking that everything is okay. He's in power, he's safe. But in the afternoon, or in the evening, or in the heartbeat of the night, I do not know what time. The Bible says that the Lord comes like a thief. In a heartbeat, it's going to be like a all of it, and it's going to be the Lord's doing. Here's the thing. How do you know it's going to be the Lord's doing? Because it's going to be very difficult to pinpoint a person and say, this is the one that removed Mnangagwa, or these are the people that removed Mnangagwa. You will not, perhaps in the future, will be able to understand it better. But as it happens, you will not be able to pinpoint a particular individual, because perhaps there's going to be too many people that are involved who themselves did not even know each other, or did not even coordinate what the Lord is going to do. The Lord is coordinating his strategies through different people, avenues and ministries and what have you, but nobody else really understands right now. None of the people that want Nagagwa gone right now understand when that day is going to come or how it's going to happen, because they're not even coordinated. But the one who coordinates is the one who sits above, who is the Holy Spirit. And on the time, when the time comes, the Lord God Almighty will do what the Lord God Almighty will have to do on the day and the time when He will have to do what the Lord has to do. And it has got to do with the Lord to understand the finer details. That God says, the Lord is warning me that I don't have to inquire or to seek or to understand the details of the whole thing. But at least it's enough for me to tell you what is going to happen. It's enough that to tell you that there's going to be a day when the Lord is going to go like, ding, ding. It's just the event, then it's gone. It's just going to come, fix the country goes back to heaven. Oh God, God is showing me this thing. It's gonna be fast. It's like God is gonna come to Zimbabwe. Like poop, poop. That's what the Lord is showing me right now as I'm speaking to you. It's gonna be like poop, poop, coming in, doing it, and then quickly going back, and then carry on watching. It's like someone just punches on the computer, punches a figure, and then the screen changes, becomes something else all of a sudden. So that's what's going to happen to Zimbabwe. God is going to come and press, and the country is going to change quickly. And Mnangagwa in the military and Chiwenga, as powerful, as feared as he is, he's not going to be able to withstand it. He won't be able to stop it because how can you stop a God? In fact, I cannot stop something that you do not know what you do not even know what it is. But what I can tell you that is Mnangagwa's government. Mnangagwa is going out. It's going. Okay, it's gonna instantly go. But you do not. You have got no clue. Okay, that's the thing. You have got no clue. So even if Nangagwa has to rig elections, intimidate people, who arrest Jacob, Ngarevuma, arrest Job Zekala, buy Chamisa, give him diamond money, buy Barakashi, have pastors for it, all of it will absolutely mean nothing on the day when the enemy of the government of Zimbabwe becomes God himself. Because you cannot cause God to be Marakash. You cannot even Rakasha God. Here's what God is saying, I must tell you, you cannot Rakasha God. You can Rakasha people in the opposition. You can buy opposition lawyers to pretend to be opposition. I don't believe. Frankly speaking, I don't believe in Nelson Chamisa. I'm sorry I have to say that thing. I support him for the fact that he's in the opposition. We have to have a central figure which we support. But I don't think that, okay, let me not even say my own personal convictions. I don't think that he's a guy who's going to lead us to the promised land. I do not think that he has got the mental capacity to withstand the challenges that come with challenging an oppressive regime like ZANU-PF, which needs somebody who is not timid of telling them the truth as a child of God. You need someone who stands on the word of God and who stands on the power of God and doesn't have a wavering faith and begins to stand and tell him Nangagwa in the face and says, I'm not doing a deal with the devil. I'm here to set my people free and get this country going on right. Otherwise, with Nelson Chamisa, I see us going to 2040, 2050. You still be saying change is coming, it's imminent. Does it know what the word imminent means? We can't be saying change is imminent for the next 50 years. No, you understand? So Chamisa is a conflicted figure who's a lawyer, and the ZANU-PF thieves are his clients that he represents, or him or his associates within his firm or within that whole sphere of influence of the opposition. So the whole opposition surrounding Niso Chamisa and the Douglas Monzora and all the other guys, not just this level of Douglas, which is not his friend, Tendai Beat, those other people, those lawyers there. It will not be difficult for me to link that actually the lawyers of Triple C actually are the lawyers of ZANU-PF. And by being Triple C, by being an opposition, it's just they are the lawyers of the looters. So one of the jobs that they do on behalf of the looters is to become an official opposition to the looters, so that it will have an appearance to the Zimbabwean public that there actually is an opposition, so that the Zimbabwean public who is fed up with these looters will support this opposition, but not knowing that the opposition actually doesn't work for the Zimbabwean. The opposition has been captured by the looters. Since they are lawyers and all that, I mean, they even protect them, and there is a lot of court cases where Chamisa and his people are representing the people that they are opposing in government. You see that kind of a conflict of interest. Even though Mr. Chamisa can say that, well, he separates his profession, which is being a lawyer, I understand that. Now, here's the thing, Mr. Chamisa, if you are a good guy who wants Zimbabwe to succeed, you will carry on being a lawyer and not lead the opposition. You will resign from leading the opposition. Because we cannot stop Chamisa from and his associates in the opposition from taking cases of ZANU-PF cases and defending them. Their job is to be lawyers, right? I fully accept that they have to be lawyers because it's a job. By the way, criminals also need to be represented. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong with Chinese representing even Itim Nangabo in the court or in the court, because that is his professional job. But however, if you are going to do that professional job, also at the same time, do not become an opposition leader who goes to parliament to oppose the very things that you are supporting in court, because you, as a lawyer of the ZANU-PF clients, you have got access, you have privilege to information that is harmful, that can harm ZANU-PF and the looters. I mean, not only Chamisa, but even the other lawyers in Triple C. For Triple C to function, for me, they shouldn't be lawyers. Okay, for me, if they've got doctors and teachers, I don't care if the teacher is teaching Emerson Mnangagwa's son at school. That means nothing. There is no material interference. But the fact that the Triple C is filled with lawyers, that's why I don't support Triple C fully, but I engage with them and work towards a successful Zimbabwe, because I don't believe everybody in Triple C is on the same bracket. But by and large, the leadership of Triple C is made up of lawyers, many lawyers, and those many lawyers are, most of them support ZANU-PF in court. So because of that conflict of interest, I mean, if they are sitting together as Triple C planning on how to take power from ZANU-PF, they have got all this information against ZANU-PF because they are their clients. If they use it politically, it will not be allowed by the legal system, right? So because of that, it's not allowed by the legal system. So Chamisa cannot function as an opposition leader without hindrances, because he's hindered by the fact that these people that he's fighting politically are also his professional clients. So the right thing to do for Chamisa is if he wants to be an opposition leader, maybe he shouldn't be a lawyer. But we cannot tell a man not to do his profession. So if he wants to do his profession, he should at least not be a leader of the opposition. He can be in the opposition, but not lead it. Even the other lawyers who are conflicted in the same manner, they should be in the opposition, yes, but not be leaders in that opposition. Perhaps advisors or other minor role that will not interfere with their professional job as lawyers. So for me, that structure of the Triple C, of a group of lawyers, high level, because those guys are high level lawyers in Zimbabwe, and ZANU-PF big wigs are right for using them, because they are one of the best. They are some of the best lawyers in the country. They're right to use them in the court of law, and it's also it is their rights as ZANU-PF people. It is their rights to use Nelson Chamisa's entourage in the court system. But for the sake of our revolutionary struggle, it is counterproductive to have those people like Nelson Chamisa and other lawyers being the very same people who are leading the revolution of the people. The very people that are in court supporting our enemies of the people, they can be the very same people who are leading us. It was of all being lawyers, talking about lawyers who sign contracts, contracts that the judge can read, and then the judge cannot tell us, because lawyers have got these secret contracts, or some of them called non-compete clauses, or these other clauses that compel them not to say certain things that they know. So I mean, if Chamisa and his other lawyers sign this kind of contracts, and then they see some things that ZANU-PF does that is detrimental to the country, because they've signed those contracts not to say those things, then they cannot use those things against ZANU-PF. Therefore, they will not be able to prosecute ZANU-PF politically. So you see where I'm going, that the conflict that Chamisa and his people, and Fatah Mahere and all of those guys that are in leadership of the Triple C are conflicted, too conflicted to lead the revolution. I'm not saying that they must not be in the opposition. They must be in the opposition, but they must take a back seat in the opposition, and let those that are not conflicted in that way to lead the opposition. They must let people who are not lawyers. For example, someone like what's his name? This guy, this journalist, what's his name? Hopol Chinono. Hopol Chinono is a journalist. Okay, So he is not conflicted, even if he gets to get take information about ZANU-PF, he can use it as a journalist in his professional job. He can still use it also politically as an opposition. As an opposition person. So we do need other people who are not conflicted in the way that the current leadership of Triple C is conflicted in that way. And it is not difficult for somebody to suspect that perhaps Triple C actually exists as lawyers for the regime, but secretly without us knowing that not only are they lawyers in the court of law, but then they are lawyers in the public domain, whereby they begin to present themselves to us, which means they present themselves to us as an as a political opposition, when in actual fact they are not a political organization. They are lawyers for the looters. As a law firm, they're offering advice to ZANU-PF. As a law firm, if I was running a law firm and I'm representing Emerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF, I would actually advise my client and say, to kill the political opponents in the country, we need to have a political opposition that can capture the people, that can manage the people. The best way of managing the people is having us as lawyers coming out there wearing suits and telling people that we are an opposition that opposes ZANU-PF, when in actual fact we are trying to absorb the frustrations of the people of Zimbabwe to us, the lawyers, pretending the people of Zimbabwe that we are opposing this government, and here go to the government, have a deal and say, okay, you know what, we are going to be the opposition on your behalf. People will believe that we are going to oppose you and take you out of power, but you will never win. Whenever there will be election, you will rig them and win them, and then we'll go to court, pretend as if we're fighting you, but then it's going to filter out, it's going to die out, then wait for another 5 years. We keep on, repeating the same thing over and over again. We keep on paying us. So it's not difficult to see that that is a very large possibility that is happening between ZANU-PF and the current Triple C leadership. Not just Triple C, but even the time when they were MTC, all of them, they are just a group of lawyers, and their bread, okay, comes from the clients who are part of the people that are looting the country dry, part of the people that we want to remove from power. So you cannot be removing from power the people that you are protecting. So that conflict itself, not based on any evidence, not based on any evidence that we know that Chamisa did this, we know that ZANU-PF pays them, but based on these perceptions on themselves, disqualifies them, Nestle Chamisa and the group of lawyers that are within the Triple C alliance, that those people, because of this, it gives this perception. The fact that the Zimbabweans do not perceive it, by and large, is actually meaning that they have succeeded in their job as as pretend opposition. So if you succeed in that job, the Zimbabweans will not see it. They will still support you. They will still support National Chamisa, saying that is the ones going to take us to the promised land. But in actual fact, they will not be knowing that, oh no, this guy actually is a lawyer for these very same oppressors, and he is an actor for the very same oppressors, and his job is actually to pretend to be in opposition, to pretend to oppose them. In actual fact, he's not opposing them. In fact, he's just absorbing your frustrations and keeping them buckled and giving you hope. I call it hopium, giving you hopium that there's going to be a brighter future, when in actual fact there is no brighter future. It just is a mirage. A mirage. You keep on thinking that there's some water 100 meters away, but there isn't. The closer you get, the thing keeps on moving further and further. So that's the hope. That's the hopium that the Zimbabweans are suffering from through Nelson Chamisa and this game of lawyers. So that conflict, it does not need proof. It does not need to be proven. That is true. That there is reasonable doubt. There's the evidence, or there's no evidence needed. The picture itself that is painted, it casts doubts on the ability of the Nelson Chamisa and the group of lawyers. It casts doubt on their ability to actually dislodge ZANU-PF from power successfully without breaching one of their legal laws or legal terms that they are involved in. And so I'm sure you get the picture of what I'm saying. So it means that, to me, the opposition has to be led by people that are not in that cluster of lawyers, Okay. Perhaps if someone who's a lawyer, but then is not a lawyer in Zimbabwe, he has never represented ZANU-PF or anybody of that nature, or if it's doctors, or it's teachers, or it's sangomas that are leading the opposition, or it's going to be pastors, or whoever that is leading the opposition, but it's got not does not have that material conflict of interest with ZANU-PF, that is very difficult to navigate. Therefore, so that's the problem that I have with Triple C. I I mean, I haven't even gone to the fact that they do not seem to have, how do you call it, a strategy of what to do when they took over power. What is it that, what is Chamisa's water policy? What is Chamisa's policy on Harare? The fact that there is no water in Harare, and what is his policy on how to manage the local government, which is largely run by MDC, Triple C people, but then he still has failed to reign, on them. Okay, when he becomes the president, what is his policy about that? And what is his policy on education? What is the policy on the economy? What does he understand about the national economy? And if not Chamisa, but other people around him, have we ever seen them articulating any policies? No, they haven't. They are seemingly interested in telling us that they're going to remove ZANU-PF from power. You see, if you are a lawyer who's a lawyer for ZANU-PF, for the sake of ZANU-PF, not for the sake of the Zimbabweans, you will keep on regurgitating this this thing that you want ZANU-PF to go out, and Mnangagwa is called out, blah blah blah. But you're not really offering anything to us, not only by saying, but by actions, by seeing your shadow government. What the shadow government? Who are they? Where are they talking? Where are they? What are they doing? What are the plans, implementation that they're planning for the new government? Okay, there is a government in waiting. You see that if I look at the Triple C, I see that they are not really a government in waiting. They pretend as if they are an opposition in perpetuity. They don't present themselves, or at least they don't appear to me as a government in waiting, but they appear to me as an opposition, that is prepared to be an opposition in perpetually. Okay, they've no intentions of not being oppositions anymore. They envision themselves as opposition in 5 years from now, envision themselves as opposition 10 years, 15, 20 years from now. At least that is what I get from the Chamisa and the people around Chamisa. But however, when I look at the people that are in opposing, but there are not lawyers in the MTC, other people that are active online in other places who are not lawyers, they actually envision a different Zimbabwe, change Zimbabwe. They, on the other hand, actually do believe that Zimbabwe must change. And those people are part of Triple C, and I support them, and I think that they are doing, taking the country towards the right direction. But the problem that the impediment is going to be the lawyers that are leading the Triple C. And those group of lawyers that lead in the Triple C are going to be a big problem in transferring Zimbabwe from ZANU-PF to the civilians because of that conflict of interest. For that reason, I have got very little confidence in the ability of Chamisa and his lawyers for delivering a free Zimbabwe, unless they take a sit back and allow other people who are not lawyers, who do not have a business affiliation with the very same people that we want to dislodge from power, to take a center stage and be the ones who are the driving force for a change Zimbabwe. Unless we have that, I do not see how Nelson Chamisa is going to behave any different from how he was behaving in 2014, 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2021, 2022, 2023. He's just going to be the same in 2024, 25, 26. I do not see a path in which a Chamisa-led or a transition is really going to happen, to understand. So, because of what I've outlined, one does not need tangible evidence to prove that what I'm saying is true. The perception alone, okay, the picture alone tells you that they cannot be reasonable confidence can be placed on the candidature of Nelson Chamisa, not just him alone, but also the lawyers surrounding the whole thing of Douglas Monzor and everything. How do we know it's not a staged thing? That even MTC is explaining from MTC to form Triple C. I mean, the fact that when he formed Triple C, isn't he was the only one who left MTC to form Triple C? All of a sudden, they were wearing yellow t-shirts. Whose money was that bought all thousands, if not millions of yellow t-shirts around the whole country. But we have never heard of MTC sponsors, or of Triple C sponsors. But when Nesco Chamisa formed Triple C, all of a sudden they had the whole country was yellow, given for free by who? Whose money? And Nesco Chamisa seems to have all these people are wearing suits following him with 4x4s, all of this. This got a lot of, you can see that the machine is well oiled. It's millions of dollars that are being used to actually launch Triple C. And you are wondering that if this guy was fired from MDC to start a political party, all of a sudden, where did all that money come from? All of a sudden, it means that there is a hand, a powerful hand that has been sponsoring him. And then I'm wondering which hand is that, and why was it so quick to release so much money, and then at the same time sponsoring a failed project, because Nelson Chamisa essentially is a failed project. Okay, the opposition in Zimbabwe has been failing since the year 2000s. I mean, even what you call it, the guy Morgan Swangirai, he's failed. Swangirai did what he did, struggled until he got into government, and then when they got into government, unfortunately, he passed away. But he eventually succeeded on getting into government. Then he passed away later on, right? But Nelson Chamisa has not been putting on a fight in the same way that Morgan Shangirai was from the year 2002 to the year 2008 9, when they had the government of national unity. You can see the struggles of Morgan Swangirai, that they were real, and therefore they led to him eventually getting into government. But Nelson Chamisa is not even fighting for Zimbabwe. He's just sitting there and just tweeting stuff. And you can see that who would sponsor all of a sudden a failed guy? All of a sudden. And why would they sponsor with their money, knowing that this guy is a failed guy, but you are still spending your money? It casts shadows, of doubts, for to some people to perhaps suspect that maybe it's actually ZANU-PF money. It's actually ZANU-PF money. It's Edim Nangagwa's money that buys all those yellow t-shirts quickly, so that he will keep on with this agenda of opposing for the sake of opposing, but never really getting to the place where he will eventually take over power. And that is where I crucify Nelson Chamisa as an opposing candidate. However, if there were elections, I would vote for Chamisa. I would recommend that people in the opposition vote for Chamisa, and everybody supports Chamisa, so that he would win. And if he wins, we will have a chance at opposing ZANU-PF, at removing ZANU-PF. Even if he was, as I said, there's no evidence to what I've been saying. There's only perception. And all of these perceptions, they paint this gloomy picture about the nature of the opposition. But if indeed we all vote for the opposition and he wins, now there's two scenarios there. If it was Edim Nangagwa that was sponsoring him in ZANU-PF, keeping him to be perpetual opposition, but for some reason they win. For some reason, the Zimbabwe military respects the rule of law and actually allows people, allows the vote to go his Nelson Chamisa's way, and also presuming that Nelson Chamisa actually does get the majority of the vote. Because in Zimbabwe, there's a lot of people that support Emerson Mnangagwa. So if actually if Chamisa actually gets that popular vote, and the military through NZEC allows him and announce him as the winner, and Edim Nangagwa was put in his place, and he doesn't do his own way, or his ED and his gangs who rig elections, if they're able to do that, and Chamisa becomes the president of the country, then reality will hit and say, okay, you're now president of the country. Okay, so you're no longer lawyer of the country, of ZANU-PF. So I'm saying I do not know if it's true or not true. I'm saying what I'm saying is a perception. There's this perception that it's because of what we're seeing. Okay, so if he becomes the president of the country, then it's either this perception I'm saying, it's just a perception. There's no truth in it. Then he wins. Then the Zimbabweans Zimbabwe is free. But if he is not, if he is not really, if he was actually a lawyer for ZANU-PF, and perhaps the military dumps Mnangagwa through giving Chamisa, victory, then Mnangagwa is gonna come back and say, "Brah, this guy, he actually is my guy. He's lying to Zimbabwe." So if Mnangagwa is bitter at what the military is doing, maybe the military may fight Mnangagwa that way. These guys are fighting. So one way of fighting Mnangagwa is actually delivering a Chamisa victory. And then Mnangagwa will bring out the court paper, the legal papers. Pa! He is what for you. He actually signed a deal with me. I've always been giving him money all along. So this guy is not legitimate. That is a scandal. The Chamisa would have won national elections, and the moment he win, declared the president, his scandal comes. That I'm just saying, in the event in which actually they do have a secret arrangement between Chamisa and Mnangagwa, if the military dumps Mnangagwa and puts Chamisa in Mnangagwa, or Mnangagwa or the guys in the Mnangagwa camp can actually bring those papers and that evidence that Chamisa is not legitimate in Zimbabwe. He's really our guy. He's also part of the looters and blah blah blah. He was just a fake opposition, and that cuts already as his presidency is starting. It becomes a gloomy picture that, okay, so you and Mnangagwa the same thing. We did. You can see the destruction that can come from there. Okay, really, how do we get out of that? How do we get the fact that even ZANU-PF is divided, the military is divided, the CIOs are divided, and it's gonna be it's just gonna be chaos. Understand? It's just going to be chaos of an unimaginable proportion, and you don't know, like, so what is the right step to take? So you understand that I am careful in my support of the tribals. That is why I started my own party, Combined Ideas Democratic Alliance. We started together with my other two guys, Tandazani Moyo and Tomban, and my other friend, and we had other guys who joined us in that party, and we have been at it for some years because we do believe that Zimbabwe must be set free, but we do not see Chamisa actually setting us free, and that is why we had our own party. So I do believe that we as SEDA will actually support even an S1 Chamisa presidency in spite of all of these conflicts of interest and this perception that is out there that I've been articulating. In spite of all that, we will still support Nelson Chamisa. We will still want him to become the president of the country, and we hope that at that time, perhaps if there is, we hope that the perception is founded on things that are not there. Perhaps it's our own delusional thinking or our own fears that are not justified. So in that case, then Zimbabwe is free. Then Chamisa is the president. Then now we hold him accountable to build the country. We really want him to come up with policy, come up with people that are going to be articulated policy that's going to help Zimbabwe grow. If it doesn't, we become his opposition once more, because as an opposition, our job is to make sure that the government functions properly and that those that lead us actually are doing the right thing, and put them to task to do the right thing. And so I hope that it's not just Emerson Mnangagwa whom we should hold accountable to the right thing, but it's also the one that is seeking to replace Emerson Mnangagwa. Is the one that we should also focus on, making sure that he also does the right thing. He also is accountable, and also he is above. He is a cut above the rest, and he is can be a guy that we can trust with the country, and he can clarify all of these fears that some of us have concerning not only him, Chamisa, but also the other lawyers that surround Nelson Chamisa. Have a good night.